I love helping my clients explore their dreams and mine, but what do you make of this? A dream where a mattress, a dead mouse, a dead bee, a dead dragonfly, and a crawling cockroach all show up. Oh, yeah, and my dad was in it too. I'm Dr. Deborah Lukovich, and I'm a depth psychology coach, author, and host of Dose of Depth podcast. And this is part of my series of Dr. Deborah's Dreams, where I show you hands on how to apply a Jungian framework to exploring the images of your dream. And what's important is to realize that your dreams aren't supposed to just be a commentary on your current life status. They really hold clues about what's coming up in the future and pivot points where, the dream is offering you a clue about you might go a different way when you sense that sort of deja vu moment from the dream. So, this is going to be kind of meandering because this dream is still percolating in me, but here's what I've come up with so far. Here's the dream first. I think Dad was there. Someone was showing us something. I think it was a mattress. I'm pretty sure I was going to be taking it or buying it from the man. That's the sense I got anyway. My dad seemed to think it was fine, but I saw this hole through the plastic that it was wrapped in. I was like, doesn't anybody else see this? I remember the sense of tension between just going along with things versus pointing out what I saw. I don't know if they couldn't see the hole or they were just glossing over that fact. This dynamic is subtle, but this is what's significant. And I recognized it actually in the dream. Then I decided to point it out. And sure enough, the guy showing it to us pulled a mouse out of the hole of the mattress. It was so gross. And I can't remember if it was alive or not. He used a tongue or something and just pulled it out. Then I thought, okay, there had to be more. Then suddenly the scene shifts and I'm sitting at a desk or a table. There's a bee, but I'm not sure if it's dead or alive. I use a pencil to poke at it. Then there's a dead dragonfly next to the bee. Then I turn and I see a huge cockroach on the floor, and I point it out to my father and the other man. So I woke up thinking, whoa, how strange is all that? Often with a dream with this many images, well, the first thing I do is pull out all the images. My father, the mattress, the mouse, the bee, the dragonfly, the cockroach. An image also is this dynamic between, hey, doesn't anybody else see this? Should I go along? Should I not go along? So that actually is like an image to explore. And then sometimes I just have no idea where to start. So I go to the A to Z Dream Moods Dictionary and I just see what clicks. And actually, that's a technical term. Carl Jung said, if it clicks, then follow it. If it doesn't click, if there's no energy there, then there's nothing there to follow. So mattress, great image. It's really the first time I remember a mattress showing up where it was just about the mattress. A bedroom, for example, can be a symbol of intimacy, and that shows up in a lot of people's dreams. But just this mattress, it was just by itself, wrapped up in plastic. Interesting because I recently moved and had to purchase two mattresses, and they did come in plastic. So the Dream Dictionary, there were two things that sort of resonated with me. And oh no, okay. So I journaled a little bit about the mattress being a support system, which is what I got from the Dream Dictionary. It's like, interesting. Okay. I journaled about what is my support system. And really, the support mainly comes from me and my rituals, my morning ritual of journaling and making a healthy breakfast and the walks I take and meditating and yoga, working out, my sisters, my texting with them every day. So it got me thinking about what is my current support system. And then I just kind of set it aside. Then I went to the mouse. Okay, dead mouse. And the things that resonated with me were number one, I'm not letting things bother me anymore like I used to. And also, I'm not letting fears stop me from doing anything. And this is interesting because I have noticed that I'm going through a kind of another layer of purging where an old memory will come up of someone that I used to feel resentment toward. I mean, why 25 years later, I'd still feel resentment? I don't know. It was just still there and suddenly it's gone. So I do feel like this energy is being freed up from it's just like another level of cleaning that's going on, I guess. And it is true that I have recognized that no matter what I do things that make me afraid. And often people don't know I'm afraid because I just do them anyway. So the interesting thing is in when you're exploring an image, you want to see then what associations come up. So the dream dictionary got me started, but then my imagination just went and my psyche, that's all it needed. And so the memory of being in my last house, the one I had to sell before I moved down to Florida, this is going to sound so weird, but it was a really weird time in my life, part of my midlife falling apart and reconstruction. And in the middle of the night, I used to think that there was something in my mattress that was like scratching around, and I would just like curl up, paralyzed, like, I can't look, I can't look. And I would fall back to sleep. But this happened a lot. And I started thinking, is there a family of mice like in my mattress? It's crazy. And during the day, I looked under my bed, looked at my mattress, and then I saw that there was a hole in the wall, like a bigger hole with a little door. And it really was just access to the plumbing to the bathroom next door. So there wasn't anything weird about it, but sometimes the door would kind of fall off. So I don't know. It's just my imagination was like so, when I look back, I can say perhaps there was some fear going on, and now there I have, shed, I guess, another layer of fear, and I do feel a circling back to feeling the kind of confidence that I used to feel that I didn't for so long. So that's where that went. So not letting minor things bother me. And okay, and then I went to, so the mattress and the mouse together. That's what's interesting. And I still haven't figured all this out, but I'm just demonstrating to you how I go about finding meaning in my dreams. Okay, on to the bee. So I'm sitting at like a desk and I pick up this pencil and I'm like, is this bee alive or dead? And bees are interesting and so are dragonflies. So a couple of things that resonated with me from the dream dictionary were the death of a bee symbolizing the completion of one form of rebirth into another, but also that they contribute to the collective. They work on behalf of the collective. And they, they don't maybe see the bigger picture of what they're contributing. And that kind of resonated with me having to do with, I've always had this need to like do something important or to have a bigger influence. And I probably have a bigger influence than I think I do. And I maybe don't see it. So that was interesting. And then also, let's see, a reflection on my biological, intellectual, or spiritual recognition of debts we owe to those who came before. That has to do with my dad, maybe. So I'll get to that in a little bit. But um, the other thing about the dragonfly, another symbol of death and rebirth, and this made me think about the caterpillar. And the caterpillar, actually, many people don't realize that it's not a really pretty picture of how the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. Its whole form dissolves, like it disintegrates before it becomes this form that had nothing to do with what it was before. And so it is a process that I've gone through, a kind of death and rebirth. But what was interesting about the dragonfly was that it was prophetic. So I know that I am sort of coming out in a different way than I was before. And I don't have anxiety about it the way that I did before. So the death of bugs in a dream is good. It shows that I've shed something. And the other thing that was interesting to me about this that resonated from the Dream Dictionary is that once, and I think this is tied to like things not bothering me anymore, because we can feel embarrassed or have shame or humiliation by our unraveling. We're forced to face things about our identity, and it can be really uncomfortable. And then sometimes you want to look back and just like ignore it. But that all needs to be sort of released and blessed and just let go and realize that everything that has happened up until this moment is what we needed. And those versions of ourselves were useful. And so we ought not to feel bad about them. If we do, then that's just energy, that it's negative energy in our psyche. So then it wasn't until the next day that I remembered to circle back about my dad showing up in the dream and how this is connected to the dragonfly and the bee. I haven't really explored my father complex that much. I used to say I get my work ethic from my father. And sort of, I had this memory come up, not really a memory, but just sort of remembering a conversation we had. My dad came from very humble beginnings. He didn't go to college, and he worked for a manufacturing company all his life. That was all his life. And he worked his way up working. And he became the manufacturing manager. And I remember when he would take my sisters and me to the plant, to the office, and we just thought, wow, he's like the boss of all of this. And decades later, once he was retiring, or really he's part of that generation where eventually, after working for this company as a manufacturing manager, he had to step down and make room for younger college educated people to sort of take over his job. And that must have been hard, actually. But anyway, he told me this conversation about how when he was starting with the company, and it must have been obvious he was doing really well, that there was a new owner and he had a chance to buy into the company with two other men that had also been there. And he didn't. And I don't remember why he didn't. I suspect that he didn't know how and didn't speak up about needing help figuring out how to do that. And so these two men became owners of the company, and my father just remained an employee all those years. And so I kind of wonder, did he, I don't know. I don't know about his feelings about it, but he shared that for me. So it also got me thinking about, I've had this mantra, I'll figure it out. I'll just figure it out. I'll figure it out. And so when I connect back to sort of lineage and ancestry, that, often our lives represent a ending of a cycle, or a breaking through of something, or a healing of a wound, or whatever. So, why did that come up? Well, in my desire to not be like my mother, who was mean, I ended up over adapting to my former husband. And sometimes I will over adapt and defer in certain situations. And, that's kind of how I've seen my father. And so my life has been the working out of, not being this, but also not being that. And so, in Jungian terms, when we can consciously hold the tension between those two things, we will find a way to reconcile it. But in the meantime, we might go away this way, or we might go away that way. And there's really no other way except to do that, go through it and learn the lesson. So that's that's a lot. And I still haven't come to a lot of conclusions, except that I do think this is a pivot dream for me, meaning that there's just something, there's like a break from the past, like something has ended and something is beginning, and I am going to break through this glass ceiling I have felt hold me back in the past. So, or hopefully. Anyway, so I share this so you can, learn how to explore your dreams on your own using resources that can get you started, but also this framework of identifying images and engaging in associations and letting your memories come up and your associations come up, and then to find the metaphor. So, what is this saying about my life? And what's affirming or what's warning? And then what does it have to do with moving forward? And for me, it has to do with like, okay, I've arrived. So, remember, I've arrived, and to stick with that, because neuroscience wise, we also have to build the capacity to be in a new energetic state. So we can be pulled back to sort of our limiting, energy, but that's okay. It's just a reminder that, oh, I have to slip back into this other energetic state. So that's all the meaning I found in it. If I find more, I'll let you know. So also, I want to let you know that I'm one of the dream experts on a dream app called Dreamigos, and dreamigos.com is where you can go get it and download it. And I comment on dreams every morning, and there's a free version and a paid version. And what else? I'll put a couple other resources and video links to videos in the description. And if you want to work a dream with me, deborahlukovich.com, schedule a free consultation. I also do dream analysis via email for $35 each engagement. So that's it. Take care. I'll see you next time.